Good evening, everyone. This is yours truly, Jasmine D. Well, let me take this off real quick because I'm gonna have to put them back on to read this bio. This is yours truly, Jasmine D. Millhouse, and I am the CEO and founder of the Purpose to Fly, where the fly stands for First Love You. And I am back here with another episode on the National Entrepreneur Month Show. I bet you thought it was over. I bet you thought I was done. But I have a shocking surprise in store for you all tonight. The gentleman that I'm going to be interviewing, man, when I tell you he is such a dear friend, I'm excited about this year for National Entrepreneur Month. I have interviewed so many great entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, pastors, and it is giving me such a great honor to be in this seat to bring them to you, to the forefront, for you to be able to get a perspective from so many different people that are new entrepreneurs, fresh entrepreneurs, old entrepreneurs, midway entrepreneurs that are giving you their story and how they got to where they are right now and just letting you peek on their journey. We are here to help you get on the path of changing your mindset, looking at different perspectives on how to deal with things, how to go to the next level in life, what to do moving forward. If you're stuck, how to get unstuck, and also open the doors for you to be able to unlock new opportunities, not only for other people, but for yourself. And what better way for me to bring on my special guest tonight, Mr. Rory Cordon Edge. Before I bring him on here, I just got to let you know a little about this bio. He received his Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in Visual and Performing Arts from the Savannah State University College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences and is currently pursuing, a Master of Arts degree in Executive Coaching and Consultation from the Townsend Institute of Cordonia University, Irvine. He recently published his first book titled I Should Have Waited, Navigating the Difficulties of Teenage Parenthood. And it is such a great read. If you don't have it, you don't know where to get it, make sure you stick around and he is going to tell you how to get to it, okay? Which illustrates how he navigated the challenges being a teen father, presenting and provides a roadmap of how he overcame those hurdles to become a productive and successful adult. A lot of us can use that in this point in time. As a profuse entrepreneur, he is a founder, the president, and CEO, and I hope I'm saying this right. It don't kill me if I get it wrong. Of Amias Healthcare. Come on, somebody. The founder of I Do It Scare, a coaching firm that helps people overcome their fears and pursue their dreams. And he's a motivational speaker. He is the loving father of Eden Gabrielle and father of Isaiah and Amira, right? Amira. Okay, good. Now that we have got that bio out the way, it is my honor, it is my privilege to present to you none other than Mr. Rory C. Edge. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
How are you?
You doing okay?
I'm doing pretty good. In yourself?
I'm great. I'm great. Just need to adjust this. Okay, boom. We in
We
it.
we we, we in there. And you
I'm
know,
good.
I'm proud of myself because we was just talking backstage before we went live. I did all that reading without my glasses on. I'm proud of myself
Hey,
because
that's your
these
shoulder.
nighttime eyes, they a whole nother breed.
Yeah. You see, I still got mine on.
Right. So we got a lot of catching up to do because so much has transpired in the last year
Yeah.
since we last, was here in this position on this live doing this interview. From that day until now, so much has changed, so many things you've went through. Just kind of catch us up on the journey that you've been through this last year alone.
Oh gosh. I think the last time we did an interview was last November. If I'm not, am I? It's been about a
Yes.
year,
Yep.
maybe right at whatever the case may be. A lot has indeed transpired. We have since opened our personal care home number one. in the process of structuring number 2. And we have also planted a pediatric urgent care in the Americus, Georgia area. So we have indeed, we've been busy. We have been busy, busy, busy. And in addition to that, my wife is a cosmetologist. She's not in her own salon yet, but we are in the process of working on that as well. A lot has transpired. A lot has happened. I've since also, the last time we spoke, I published my book, and I'm so excited that I have had the opportunity to receive some coaching. I have an executive coach myself. Me being a coach, every coach needs a coach, and have had the privilege of sitting under Miss Jasmine Womack. She's an author, speaker, coach, motivational, whatever you need her to be. She is that and more. And I have had the opportunity to sit under her tutelage and develop my book into a coaching program. And so we are getting ready to launch the Elevator to Excellence coaching and mentoring program. It's going to be a coaching and mentoring program for men and young men. And in it, we'll, talk about and discuss some of the things that I went through. I think a lot of times people harp on the bad stuff and not really focus on the good stuff. Like I didn't want to, at first I realized I was just telling my story, telling the story of tragedy. And every time I told it, in essence, I was reliving that pain, right? So after I partnered with Jasmine, she gave me a totally new perspective and talked. And so now we've morphed the book from a place of pain to a place of provision, a place of process, and a place of pressing. And so I'm so excited about that. That's just the short of everything that has transpired since the last time we had the opportunity to speak. But yeah, it's been a lot. And but Jasmine, the thing about it is, I ain't finished yet. I ain't finished.
Yes.
Hold on. Yep.
That's the good part, because people sometimes think about when something goes wrong or if something doesn't go the way that they expected it to go, that's okay, I gotta throw in a towel. Now nothing will work for me. But that doesn't necessarily mean nothing will work. That just means at that time what you were doing may not work for you then. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't go back to revisit that. Sometimes we have to step back and develop our maturity levels to be able to withstand and handle what we're working on and what we want to accomplish,
Yep.
because sometimes we get into entrepreneurship at an immature level,
Mm.
you know.
I got a whole lesson on that, and not about other people. I'm talking about on me. I got a whole book that I'm going to write on that. It'll be one of my future books, just simply talking about that. I just had to just interject and say that real quick.
Come on, plug.
Yeah.
That was a plug,
Yeah.
and I'm excited about that, because we got to understand that we're not everything is not going to be, the way we always want it to go. When you want to, they always say when you want to make God laugh, tell him what you gonna do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Uh,
Please tell him your plans. I'll wait. You
yep.
know, do they line up to always go the way you want it to go? Absolutely not. So, for you being, opening up your own healthcare, facilities, multiple, should I say, and now on the path of opening up a pediatric center, Eden, she's doing her own cosmetology and now working on getting her own location as well. What has that journey been like for you? Because that's all been done, within a matter of 365 days. Now, did the process start before that? Absolutely. But it went quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
How was
So
that process for you?
so uh this didn't start until about 2018. 2018 was the best year for me ever in my life. It was I went through my wife and I, we had a church. which was in essence, I mean, our business, of course. And around year 1.5, I mean, things just went south, like boom, 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 boom. And next thing you know, we had to close it. That's also going to be a book as well. Yeah. And I think I'm gonna title it, I Should Have Waited, Navigating the Difficulties of Pastoring. I think I'm gonna create a series, but nonetheless, so the seed began to grow and went through a severe depression. But the seed began to grow and germinate after I listened to motivational speaker. His name is Les Brown. Les Brown is the man, right? And so I think he's unparalleled and unmatched, but that's another story for another day. And so he planted a seed. I listened to his motivational speech. I actually listened to it today. It's titled "It's Not Over Until I Win." It's on YouTube now. It has over 1 million views. I challenge anybody who is in a dark, deep place or just in a place of uncertainty to go and check that out. It's titled "It's Not Over Until I Win." And so I listened to that, and like he planted a seed, and then I just began, to just dream again, because, I associated myself with the failure of the business. I couldn't detach Rory from the business, and so I thought of myself as being a failure. And so after enduring that, going through that, I got in some therapy, got some therapy, and then after that, just really began to work and plow the ground. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to go into and venture into entrepreneurship. So I tried coaching at first, but looking back, I didn't have the framework, right? I had the idea, but as many of you know, that it takes systems and processes to get anything off the ground, right? And so people just see the initial idea and then they see the end result, but what they don't realize is that in between there's a bridge, and that bridge is systems and processes that take you from the beginning. It crosses you over the waters of trouble, hardship, and trial, and then it takes you to the end result. And so what people are seeing today is a result of almost 3 years of work that was done behind the scenes, right? I shared this information with people. I told people what I wanted to do, and told them, hey, come along with me, come along with me, come along with me. And some of them made the decision not to do so. I don't hold anything against them. But when I said that to say, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it, right? And so that's the place you have to be in your entrepreneurial pursuit. You have to make up in your mind. You say, okay, you know what? I don't know where I'm going to get the money from. I don't know. And let me just say this: Friedrich Nietzsche, he's a famous German philosopher. He said this. He said, when you know the why for doing, you can endure almost any how, right? And so one of the things I heard Les Brown say was, don't worry about how it's going to get done. You think about your why in the process. And I kept the why in the forefront of my mind, right? I understood that I had a wife who has been supportive and supported me throughout this entire journey. We have 3 children that I got to think about. I have a mother and a father and a stepmother that I want to retire one day. I don't want them to have to worry about anything ever. I don't want my children to have to worry about anything. I don't want their spouses to have to worry about anything, or my grandchildren. The Bible teaches that a good man leaveth an inheritance. I want to be a good man and leave something, leave a legacy for my family and for my children and my grandchildren and great grandchildren. So that's what pushed me. Has it been easy, Jasmine? Heck no. Absolutely not. But has it been worth it? It has indeed been worth it.
When you was talking about that starting point and that glory moment, that midway,
Yeah.
that's the part that the outside does not see.
Mm-hmm.
We know the trials, the tribulations, the sweat, the tears, the sleepless nights, I just want to eat me an apple and get me a bottle of water, and that's my meal for the day because I'm working,
And
or
I hate to interrupt, but I want to say this real quick. The other day, I was working so much, I realized that I was not hungry until about 6 o'clock. that afternoon. Mind you, I had been up since about 6 o'clock that morning. And I'm just going and going and going. And then my wife and I, we go and grab a bite to eat. And I said, dang, man, I said, this is my first time eating. She was like, you know what? Me too. You know what I'm saying? But that's when you have your why in the front of your mind. Like it just, you don't have time to eat, literally.
And it's not like, I'm neglecting myself or neglecting my nutrition and all that. I just don't think about it,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then, trying to incorporate a healthy lifestyle and entrepreneurship or anything. Sometimes it can be difficult,
Yeah.
but just let me plug, make sure y'all stop yourself, put your little time on, eat your little meal, even if, little apple, little peanut butter sandwich or something,
Yeah.
feed
Yeah.
yourself, okay?
Yeah.
But it gets, it's intense in entrepreneurship, is forceful in entrepreneurship. It's like sometimes we feel like, okay, I can't let up because my goals are so big that I'm scared. And
Mm,
sometimes when you scared, you move,
mm,
you put work in, and
mm.
you get, you don't stay stuck and stagnant in that place of
Right.
scared. It pushes you and propels you to want to say, okay, I want to see what's on the other side of this scared moment. What
Mm.
is it so amazing that I'm working on that I want to get to? I'm going to push myself to go do it. And so for you, being in health, having a healthcare facility, have you had any or received any questions of, well, Rory, what you know about healthcare, or what made you want to go into that? You ain't no doctor, the people, right? You ain't no doctor, you ain't got no degree, blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. How do you deal with those questions for those semi-negative mind people?
Like you said, want, blah, blah, blah. I used to say it goes in one ear and goes out the other. But Jasmine, I'm so focused right now. Like, I don't care. Don't, I don't care. And what it does is, and it's no offense. And when I use the
Right,
term, people to think of it in a derogatory way, right? But it's
right.
really ignorance, okay? And for them, they are not ignorant, but they don't even realize what they're saying is ignorance. Because I've had those conversations with people, and I'm like, do you not understand that in the state of Georgia, you don't have to be a healthcare professional in order to own a healthcare facility? And then I tell them, if I tell you any more past this, I'm gonna have to send you an
I'm
invoice for.
coaching. You gonna pay me?
Yeah. If I tell you anything beyond what I'm saying now, you're gonna have to pay me for my time and for the information. And so when I discovered that, I was like, man. Now, Jasmine, I will say this. My dream when I first went to college, I was pre-med. I was pre-med. I wanted to be a dermatologist, believe it or not. And then when my advisor was like, well, yeah, you got to have your reading, I mean, your language and your history and all that stuff. She said, but after your first year, everything from that point on, from year 2 all the way to year 4, she said, it's science. And I was like, uh-uh.
I'm good. Don't even worry
I said,
about it.
what else do I like? What else do I like? Music. And then I met, you know what I'm saying? So I got my degree in fine arts, but I've always been intrigued by the medical field, and just never, I think your strengths is knowing your weaknesses, right? And
Mhm.
I didn't have the wherewithal, the fortitude to sit in, like I struggled in science in high school. Like, it didn't make sense. And that's not to sell myself short or to be presumptuous and say, okay, well, Rory, you got to at least try. No, I know my limitations. I know my capabilities. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. That's part of why, nobody can convince me otherwise of anything else, because I know me. Um, but with that being said, in those, those conversations, I'm like, no, Rory, no, you may not have obtained the medical degree, but that doesn't prohibit you from owning the medical facility. And so now, in this instance, and in many more to come, although I didn't get or obtain the medical degree, I'll be signing the doctor's check. I'll be signing the nurse practitioner's check. I'll be signing the MA's check. I'll be saying, you see what I'm saying? So, so then you have to really look at it and say, okay, well, I guess it did work out in the end. I'm in the healthcare field. I'm not an MD. I don't have any type of healthcare training other than when I was a behavioral health counselor, but that was mental health, right? So that's what I do with it. I don't, when those conversations arise, it doesn't even go in one ear and go out the other. If I allow it in, it'll have, I'll be tempted to let it stay. So I don't even entertain it. I don't even entertain it.
That is so powerful right there. And a whole nother perspective of what blocking out the noise means. Breaking that down like that, I hope y'all caught that for everybody that's watching, whoever you are. I hope you caught that. When it comes to the naysayers and the negative people, instead of just in one ear and out the other, blocking it all together, and be so laser focused on what you're doing that you don't even have the time on your clock or your watch to pay attention to that. You
Yep.
know, if
Yep.
you're not giving me the resources to follow my dream and pursue what I've told you that I wanted to do, then that means we have nothing outside of that, entrepreneur wise or business wise, to talk about. You
Yep.
know, that just means I have to categorize and compartmentalize the conversations that me and you can have going forward. That's
Yep.
nothing negative to say about you. I just know where I can go with you in
Right.
conversation and
Right.
where my cutoff point is, because you have to have a cutoff point with some people, family and friends included, because everybody can't go on the journey where you're going because they're not going to understand. And with knowing that, business wise, how important has it been for you with setting the tone and the culture of your businesses, like for your employees? How important has that been for you?
Well, I think one of the things that I have really, really tried to make sure that all of our people know is like service is number one. That is like even Jesus said, and he was the savior of the world. He was the king of glory. He said when he came here, his mission was to not be served, which was the antithesis or the polar opposite of what people perceived at the time for a king to be. That's why his people couldn't receive him. The people he came to redeem couldn't receive him, was because at that point, the only thing they knew for a king to be was to be served. But it's amazing how Jesus took the opposite of that. And he said, I didn't come to be served, but to serve and give myself a ransom. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. And when we look at that thing, the reality is Jesus gained more by serving
Than being served.
than being.
Yeah.
By him serving, guess what? I had the right to everlasting life. And not just me, but millions upon millions of people around the world now have access to eternal life, because he came not to receive the grapes and the wine and and the bread and to sit on the throne. No, he realized that what he was doing here was only temporary, because he already had an eternal throne. So it wasn't no need for him to try to seek one here, because why? The world was already his. It was already his. And so I think for many people, they have to tap into that. They have to tap into, okay, why am I doing this? Why? And I pray I'm not moving beyond what we're supposed to be.
Oh, go ahead, sir. You
Okay,
talking good. You
you
talking
have
good.
of that. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Warren Buffett said this. He said, you serve a billion people, you change a billion people's lives, you'll be a billionaire. And so what you have to understand is when you are providing whatever type of service you are as an entrepreneur, you have to look at it from a place of service. And that's what we preach constantly to our staff, is we are here to serve. We ain't, if somebody comes through those doors and they mean and ugly and nasty and disrespectful, whatever the case may be, you take that and take as much as you can. But we still have to remember that we are here to serve. And so those are one of the main and key components that we and mantras that we try to instill into our employees. And I've seen one in particular. I won't call her name, but she has made a complete turnaround. Like, she's a totally different person from working with my wife and I, because we set the tone. We're the owners. I'm the CEO. She's the COO. So we set the tone. What goes on in the head, it flows down. And so we can't preach service. We can't preach it and not live it, right? So we make it our business to serve the people that work for us. And I believe when you treat when they see that, when your people know that you care about them and love them and appreciate them and are willing to serve them, they will do pretty much anything you ask them to do.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. And kind of going into the topic for tonight, and I know it's kind of long, but with your book title, I Should Have Waited. Okay. So I kind of centered around, the topic around waiting, knowing when to wait and how to decipher when it's time to move. So with you, making so many moves in your journey, when did you know it was time to stop or when it was time to move? How were you able to determine that?
To be perfectly honest, I've had so many experiences where I didn't realize it was time to throw in the towel until it was too late.
Whew.
I hope that makes sense for somebody. I didn't realize it was time to quit and throw in the towel until it was too late.
My God, today.
That the reason I stayed in as long as I did was because at that time I was concerned with what people would think and what people would say. But most importantly, now that was then. You know who my worst enemy is now? My worst enemy now is me. Which is why I hired the expertise of a coach. I had to realize that I could only do as far as I could do for myself. And then, I hired my coach to say, okay, Rory, all right, this is what else you need to do. Boom, 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 da, 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 blah, 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 blah. But we'll talk about that, later, or maybe on the importance of a coach. Maybe, I don't know. I'll come back, whatever. I don't know. But the waiting process, Jasmine, I'm probably going to get in trouble. I think waiting has really stifled a lot of us, to be perfectly honest. I think waiting has been, for some of us, to our detriment. And I think what we have to understand. Okay, all right, boom. Do you know how to make Kool-Aid, right? I think all black people, I think if they don't should know how to make it. You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
You can do it at this point. Somebody taught you. I got my recipe from my mother-in-law, how to make Kool-Aid. The way she make it, I love the way it turns out. I mean, it's off the chain how she does it. And it's one simple thing that she does that gives it a totally different taste once it's soaked. You know what I'm saying? When it's hot up a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? And so I think what happens is the reason most of us wait so long to open the business, to start the website, to launch the coaching program, or whatever the case may be, is because we don't have the ingredients. We don't have the ingredients. I would ask her, what are you doing to this Kool-Aid? Tell me, what are you doing to this Kool-Aid? I was making Kool-Aid myself, but it wasn't turning out like hers was. And so I was like, look, I stood there, watched, I was like, all right, you got to tell me what you're doing. And then one little simple thing she did made the world of difference. And so now that I have the recipe, right, I can now move forward. And that's for, I don't know who that's for, but the problem is the reason we wait is because we don't have the recipe. That's why you need to stop being cheap and invest in where you're trying to go. I'm going to say it one more. Can I say it one more time, Jasmine? That's why I don't know who watching. I don't know who listening. Stop being cheap. Stop trying to get everything for free. Find you a coach. If you are trying, I don't know, if you're trying to open a ballet studio, you've never done it before. You've never owned a ballet studio before. You're the best ballet dancer in the world. You may have the technique, but do you have the business sense to keep that place open? Do you know how many students you'll need for your break-even point? If you don't know what a break-even point is, you need to go somewhere and sit down. And you get that, you know what a break-even point is from a business plan. And you get a business plan from a business consultant.
Yes.
I used to get it off the internet, thought that was enough. No, I had to have somebody explain to me, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What do you mean? Is it going to be a 3% increase or 5% increase over the next 5 years? Like, I don't understand. I had to have somebody to explain it to me. And Jasmine, to this day, I still don't understand a lot of it. But that's why now I'm in a place now where I can say, okay, hey, cuz, I need you to show me this. Here's $5 or whatever. Boom, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And so I would encourage the individual, who is waiting. Don't wait too long. Tomorrow is not promised. Don't wait too long. I just buried a cousin this weekend. My first cousin. He was in his 40s. It was unexpected. Don't listen. And you know my story as far as last year with me almost losing my life to coronavirus. That thing woke me up, Jasmine. I was like, what the heck is going on in here? It woke me up. And so now, to save myself some time and money, I'm going to just buy the recipe. For whatever it is I want to do from here on out, I'm going to buy the recipe. Boom. And that's what a franchise is. A franchise is the recipe. McDonald's, they have the recipe to success. Invest in it. Stop trying to do stuff on your own. That's why a lot of y'all wait, because you're trying to do it on your own. No. Save yourself some time and years and go invest in the recipe. That'll ease the waiting. But you can't do that at Longhorn every night. And you at Olive Garden every night. You waste them. That's your seed right there that you could be spending and investing in the consulting to get whatever business that you need. I hope that's helping somebody.
Look, obviously,
you can alleviate the weight by buying the recipe. You can alleviate it. But it's other factors as well. Like, you got to get over the fear.
And that brings me to my next question.
Okay, go ahead.
What does fear mean to you and why?
I use this acronym. It's false evidence appearing real. Right? The enemy, y'all, I ascribe to the Christian faith. I'm a believer. I'm a pastor, minister, however you want to categorize it. I follow Jesus Christ, okay? And so everything, if you go back to the Garden of Eden, Satan was absolutely correct on everything that he said, but he slipped in the lie. He said, surely if you eat it, he said, no, you won't. He said,
surely die.
He said, that ain't gonna happen when you eat that. No, bro, that ain't what the case is. God trying to just keep you from being like him. Man, eat that fruit. They already had the dominion. They already had, God, I ain't trying to preach, but I feel they already had it. And anytime when fear arises, it is the enemy, the devil himself, or maybe one of his little imps, I don't know, trying to talk you out of what you already have. You already have somebody out here, I don't know where I'm gonna get the money from. You already have it. I don't know what you already have it. You possess what you are trying to get. It's already in there, but it's in the form of an idea. You just now have to take what you already possess, that idea, put it on a piece of paper, and begin to execute. It's that simple. It's that simple. So do I still get fearful? Absolutely. Absolutely. I could, at any point, any day, I could have to shut down any business that I have because something can happen. But I'm okay with that because that's how I overcome the fear. Because, Jasmine, I don't want to live my life in shoulda, coulda, woulda. I only have a handful of regrets. I can count them on one hand. I only have a few. I regret nothing that I've been through. Nothing that I've been through. So what is fear to me? Fear is false evidence appearing real. But what do I do with that? I overcome it. I do it scared. I do it scared, and I do it anyway. And
Yeah.
even fail, that a lot of us are afraid to fail. We have a fear of failure. School, I believe, messed us up because you had to be perfect and everything. You had to get 100 or 90. AB honor, a principal honor roll messed us up. AB honor roll messed us up because we went through 13 years of it, and we've been indoctrinated and to believe that our lives we have to do it perfectly. Listen, let me tell you something. If I have to close the urgent care down tomorrow or next week, I'm gonna do that. And I have a badge of honor on my arm right here saying that at least I did it.
Yes.
Like, okay, so what? If it closes, so what? I'm sitting down in one of the rooms of my personal care home. If it closes, it closes. It closes, and I have that. I'm not gonna say cockiness. What's another word? Cocky is too.
Confidence.
I have that. Yeah, thank you. I have that
Confidence.
confidence. You wanna know why? Because I know the recipe, and the recipe is rinse and repeat. You can do it anywhere, and if it fails, guess what? I'll go open up another LLC, establish business credit so that I can borrow business funds, and then I'll do it all over again until I get it right.
Right. There you go.
Until I'm talking about till the wheel fall off. I'm gonna do it till I get it right. So what? If it doesn't work, so what? Get up and do it again. Overcome that fear. Do it scared. Do it afraid. Overcome it. You have to. Your kids depending on it. If you don't have any, or if you plan on having some, they are depending on you pursuing what you have been called to do.
And not only that, even if you do or don't have any kids, you are dependent on you.
Thank you.
You depending on you. Like, yeah, your kids, yeah, they need you. You know, you gotta build generational wealth, and that's good. But you are dependent on the steps that you take from this day going forward. It ain't about who's gonna benefit. It ain't about, all this other kind of stuff. It ain't about any of that. What are you gonna get and gain from the steps that you're gonna take? What is your purpose that you gotta live out before you take your last breath? Because believe it or not, your last breath is coming. Whether it's today, tomorrow, 10 years from now, or 20 years from now. Oh, it's on the way.
It's on the way.
And it's guaranteed 100%. If you can't bet on nothing else, you can bet your last breath. Okay? You can bet your last breath. It's coming. But the thing is, what are you going to do, and how are you going to fix and get your mindset into shape to be able to do what is in your heart and your purpose to do? You were sent here with purpose. Now you got to figure out, how can I go back to what you just said, serve the people in my purpose? It ain't about what I'm going to get. It's not about the benefit. It's not about money. It's not about that, because that's the extra that's going to come to you when you walk in your purpose.
There you
that's
go.
The benefit of it. Your fruit is from you planting the seed. You don't plant the seed and eat on the same day. You plant the seed and reap the harvest. Okay.
Oh. She said you don't plant the seed and eat the fruit on the same. Oh, I'm gonna steal that one. I'm stealing that one. I'm stealing that one. I'm putting that one in my arsenal. I'm finna put that in my gun. Pow! I'm shooting.
Write that down.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. And it also, that goes into exactly what you were saying. Just move. Just do it. Don't worry about the in between. The how to ain't your business. Just do it.
Yeah. Just like I mean, ain't it what Nike say? They say do it like you have to. If nobody else is depending upon your success, you are depending on your success. You should be anyway. Which I want to say this really quick. One of the things that I had to understand, Jasmine, is that if I was going to take my life to the next level, I had to surround myself with people who were going the same way. Not just surround myself with people who are going the same way, but also find people who have been where I'm trying to go. Right. And so this past October, I had the opportunity and the privilege to sit around the table with millionaires. Not my first time doing so, but I was able to like tangibly touch these people and shake their hands and hug them and sit down with them and talk to them. And just to, yeah, I spoke if they spoke to me, which they did a lot of that for whatever reason, I don't know. But the conversations are different. The maturity is different. There's still people, yeah. Please don't get me wrong. Please don't misunderstand me. However, it's a different place. Jasmine, I don't hang around negative people. I can't do it. I don't have the tolerance or stomach for it anymore. I can't do it. Everything is wrong. Like your day, every day is always bad. But what I had to realize is whatever you rehearse, that's what you become. Ooh. Whatever you rehearse, if you rehearse negativity, if you rehearse bad stuff, if you constantly eat that stuff, that is what you are. There's this saying, you are what you eat. If that's what you eat, that's what you are. And guess what? At some point, you don't even have to try to be it. It's just naturally you. I know that you are a millage because it's all on your face. I mean, you Millhouse. Yeah, I ain't no disrespect. You Millhouse. But
that bloodline though,
it's deep. You hear me? You look like them folk. You hear me? You look like your folk. Your folk, my folk too. We go way back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Miss Minnie, like we go way back. Mr. Fuzzy, we go way. I know all your folks. I know your. I had your grandma food. I ate her cakes. Like I know your folks. You know what I'm saying? And so you are what and people think they can hide it. You can't hide it. You can't hide it. And you have people who refuse to accept responsibility for where they are. I went through bankruptcy in 2018. It was nobody else's fault but mine.
Talk about it.
The decisions that I made up to that point, that was just a manifestation of the bad financial decisions that I made up until that point. And it just all of us just so happened to come crashing out. I did that. Mm-hmm. I did that. Rory and Jan, let me tell you something. When I started accepting and taking responsibility for my stuff, my life started to change. My life started to change.
Put a pin right there. Hold on. Put a pin right, because I need you to break that down. Why is it so important to take responsibility and hold yourself accountable for the things that you have done? Why is that so important?
Right. So I look at it this way. Right. Jesus said this, Luke 17:1. He said, offenses are going to come in this lifetime. He said, but woe be unto them who causes them. Right. So in other words, their offenses are going to come. You're going to have problems. Right. None of us are exempt. Somebody going to cut you off in traffic. Somebody might cut you out. Somebody might whatever. You may have a disagreement between you and your spouse. Your children gonna get on your nerves. Stuff is gonna happen. But Jesus said something key. He said, woe be unto him that causes it. He said, it would be better for a millstone to be tied around his neck and he'd be cast into the depths of the sea. Okay. And so what we have to understand is this: when we accept responsibility for our mistakes, the healing process can then begin. And a lot of us, all this, empowerment going on, and and this meism, and I can do, and I'm this and I'm that, you think you heal, but when you are real healing is accepting responsibility for the stuff you did.
But you woke though, right?
but you can't, because there is some type of disconnect. I don't know what it is, and I'm seeing it more and more. I had to preach a few Sundays ago, and the sermon topic was, sometimes the enemy is the inner me. Sometimes the enemy is the inner me. Ain't nobody made you go eat that Reese's cup or that Snicker bar. You decided to do that.
Get out my business, sir.
Okay. Hey, I got candy in I got a little candy beside my bed where my lamp is. And I got like my favorite jamming, my kryptonite is the Lifesaver wild berry gummies, bro. And I swear to God, it's a bag right there. When I go get in that bed, I promise you, I'm gonna watch my TV a little bit. I'm gonna reach my hand in that bag and eat my gummies. And we have to, y'all, listen to me, my good people. We have to accept accountability, and we have to be willing to be held accountable.
Yes.
You cannot be a successful entrepreneur if you're not willing to do either one of those things. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, because every time a customer comes in and complains about something, or may have an issue with something like that, that ain't what it is. And next thing you know, nobody's coming back to your store. That's because you weren't willing to accept the criticism, or
Yes.
i.e., you weren't able to accept the accountability. When there's a problem, it's not always a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an indication that something needs to change. Right? It ain't always, problems aren't always bad. Like people, like you're not perfect, bro. You ain't perfect, sis, queen. You're not perfect. It's okay for someone to hold you accountable, and that's especially with this with millennials and this generation coming behind. Everything that I've been through is somebody else's fault. No, I did that. I wrote a book about being a teenage parent, but Rory made the decision not to protect himself. Rory made that decision. Rory did. And so as a result of that, I incurred certain consequences. And I cannot be mad at anybody else other than me.
Mm. Mm. My God, tonight. Look, let me tell you, I hope everyone that's tuning in, first of all, let me thank y'all for joining us here on National Entrepreneur My Show. You know, it's your girl, yours truly, Jasmine D. Millhouse. And I am here with Mr. Rory C. Edge. And we are talking about knowing when it is important to wait, how long, deciphering when to move, the importance of entrepreneurship, mindset, culture of your business, and bringing, to my that goes to my next question. How important is it for you to know when someone may not be your client, and when to understand that? Because we all get into entrepreneurship and say, oh, I want to get everybody, I want to help everybody, I want to save the world, like we're a superhero. But why is it important for you to understand who you are and when to know that you can't help somebody?
Well, I'll say it this way. That's why it's important that I said earlier, it's important to surround yourself with people who are going the same way, but I also said same direction. It's also important that you find somebody who has been where you're trying to go.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So my coach, she helped me write my book, and now she is helping me to like really take this thing to another level. I thought that my book was for all teen parents, right? That's what I thought it was. But after being asked a few questions in the coaching program, having to sit down and really analyze and think through some things, some processes, and some systems that my coach gave me, I was like, okay, my book is not for everybody. My book is written for male, for men between the ages of 16 and 35, 16 and 40. It's written for any man that has experienced being a teenage parent. All right. So my book is twofold. It's written to the man who is still dealing with the hurt, pain, embarrassment of becoming a teenage father. And it's also for the young man who has not yet become a father. And I want them to be deterred from doing that as well. I want to keep them from enduring and incurring some of the same hardships that I endured and incurred as a teenage parent. And one of the things I had to do, I had to take care of my responsibilities at a very young age. Jasmine, I have no idea what it's like to be an adult without children.
Come on, somebody.
Feel what I'm saying? I graduated from high school May. 3 months later, my first day of college, I talk about it in my book. My first day of college, Isaiah's born.
Mm-hmm.
Like, boom, I went from being a child to a child with a child.
Right.
I hope somebody caught that. I went from being a child to being a child with a child.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so so I so knowing your audience, knowing your customer is very important. Which again, I'll go back to it and I say it until I'm blue in the face. Hire somebody, whatever your passion is, whatever you're trying to do. Get specific. Get specific. Get specific. I didn't just open an urgent care. I opened a pediatric urgent care. That only serve what? Children. That's
Children.
that's it. I didn't open just a home. I opened a personal care home for seniors and adults with disabilities. I got specific. I figured out who I wanted to serve. Okay. And you have to figure out, you got to know, which in the business world, they say that knowing your market.
Right. Right.
You have to know your market. You have to know who you're serving. Not all marketing models will fit the same. Yeah, although I have a home for seniors, I'm not going to advertise to seniors. I'm going to advertise to their children.
Right. Right.
And
You got to understand that.
yeah, and more specific, if we dig a little bit more deeper, women are more prone and more apt to take care of their elderly parents than men are.
Them men are. Yep.
If I want to niche that thing down a little bit more, I got to go to the women who have ailing and aging parents.
And then that even breaks down to a specific age group as well.
Yes, it does.
Age group, you got to think about income, marital status, all of that. That break down. Now we getting into coaching, okay?
Yeah. And if I said done that, you're gonna have to pay. Whoever trying to write this down, y'all gonna have to pay. I'm gonna see
dollar sign.
Oh, me. Oh,
so
me.
what have been and I know you kind of went into this earlier, but what have been the things you've learned or gained from the mistakes that you've made over your journey?
Ask for help. That would be number one. Please, whatever you do, don't be afraid to ask for help. That has been my demise in a lot of situations. Thinking I can figure it out on my own, do it on my own. Please, I'm begging you, ma'am, please, sir. Everybody listening, watching under the sound of my voice, please get over your pride. In essence, that's what it is. It's pride.
Right.
Pride. Thinking you know it all, do it all. Jesus, look, in the book of Ephesians, Paul said in the book of Ephesians chapter 4, and he gave some to be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors, and some teachers. He didn't give one gift. He gave 5. Some people would argue and say 4 and say that the pastor and teacher is the same. But we ain't talking about Bible study tonight. We talking about, what business tonight. But he gave 5 gifts. And these are gifts of administration. For the church, the universal church, he gave 5. He didn't give one gift. He gave 5. You want to know why? Because the apostle is responsible. He's responsible for establishing and planning, right? And then you got the prophet. He's responsible for giving direction. And then you got the evangelist. The evangelist is responsible. Is the longest finger. It's the thing. It's and is represented by the longest finger, the middle finger. He or she is responsible for outreach.
Yeah.
Pastor, which is symbolized by the marriage ring. He or she, in essence, is married to the church. He's responsible for discipleship and growth. And the teacher is responsible for illumination, bringing things to light, teaching people, helping people grow in their walk, in their faith. And this is the mark of a successful businessman or woman. Is what gifts do you have surrounding yours? Jasmine, I'm telling you, I am one of the most inspirational and inspired men that you ever meet. I can give an idea. I can, you know what I'm saying? But I learned that my strength was in the people that I didn't know that I needed. Right? Like I didn't realize, like Rory, you keep ending up in the same situation that you're in because you're too prideful to ask for help. And you know why I was prideful in asking for help, Jasmine? I was prideful in asking for help because I didn't want people holding stuff over my head.
Wow.
I didn't want people saying, "Oh, you remember when I helped you with? And do you remember when I did this? And do you remember when I da 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 da?" I hate that. I hate that. If you give me $2 and some change, before I let you reveal that and tell that everybody, I swear to God, I give you $10 back.
I sure will.
I I swear to God, and I ain't supposed to swear to God, but I swear to him that I'll give you 10 back. You know what I'm saying? Because I hated that. But I realized and I had to understand that there was some things that I had to process through therapy that helped me. Okay, Rory, why is this way? Why do I?
Hmm.
So I would say the number one thing is definitely ask. The second thing would have to be, and the pandemic proved this, but don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid. Don't get so focused and so headstrong and so centered on one idea or one way of doing things that you're not able to shake things up. Right? I look at success this way. Success is finding what works, um, implementing it, and making adjustments along the way. That's all a pivot is. It's an adjustment. It's
Hmm.
not that you're forgetting the original idea of the original thought. It's just that okay, this model is some stuff that will never return again as a result of the pandemic. It's some old models that have forever and always been, will be, and forever will be completely, totally eradicated because the pandemic happened.
Hmm.
We as business owners, as entrepreneurs, can't get too comfortable and can't the hotel industry has been Airbnb has shaken the hotel industry
Hmm.
to its core.
Yep.
That ain't nobody fault but the hotel industry fault that Airbnb did what they did. That's the hotels industry fault. That ain't Airbnb fault. The auto industry has been shaken because of what Uber and Lyft has done. People aren't buying cars anymore. They're not. They're not. Uber shook up the auto industry so much. GMC said, you know what, Uber, we see where the thing going. We want to invest 500 million into this and into where Uber is getting ready to go. And
And
that was
y'all can use our cars to rent out to the people to drive Uber.
boom, boom, boom,
And
boom.
you can go drive Uber as an entrepreneur with a 1099 contract,
Huh?
and they ain't gotta work no job.
Nothing.
Go get you a brand new car and
Huh?
just do about 50 rides a week. Boom. Done.
Yeah. And you have to maintain it. You have to
Yep.
put S in it. I
Yep.
know Hertz or is it Enterprise? One either Hertz or Enterprise just spent $1 billion, if I'm mistaken, on like 100,000 Teslas, right? Half of them, 50,000 of them, they're gonna lease out to, and the other half they're gonna use them in their fleet to, for their to rent them out or whatever the case may
Right.
be. I'm
Hmm.
telling you, y'all, you can't be afraid to pivot. You can't be afraid to pivot. That would be the second thing. And the third thing is, I would definitely have to say, don't whatever you do, don't hold yourself back. Right? Don't let you be the reason that you not go forth and not do it. I'm talking to the people who are already in entrepreneurship. Right? Don't be afraid to go to the bank and ask for the loan. But see, Jasmine, what I had to discover is it's not just about asking for the loan, it's what to say when asking for it. Like I had no idea that there are loans out there that I don't have to provide not 1 ounce of of documentation for. Not one. It's called a no doc loan. Not one.
Hmm.
I don't have to provide a bank statement. I don't have to provide a check stub. I don't have to provide a tax return. If I have the minimum of a 700, sometimes with 720,
Hmm.
720 credit score, I can go into pretty much any financial institution and say, hey, I want a no dot loan. They say to me, okay, do you have they run my credit, check my credit score. And then if I meet that qualification, the minimum they can borrow, I mean the max they can borrow lend on that is $50,000. I didn't know that. I learned that after I got coaching.
I'm gonna have to send you an invoice for that one.
You know what I'm talking about? It's not just knowing what to do and how, and it's not just knowing what to do, but it's knowing what to do and how to do it. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Like I earlier, those systems and processes in between that get you from the idea and then boom to manifestation.
Yeah. Well, look, that's all that I have for tonight. And well, almost all I have for tonight.
Okay. Okay.
Um So first, before I get into the last thing though, it's real simple. I want to thank you, for your time as usual. I love National Entrepreneur Month. I love doing this because again, I get to dig into the minds of different people, and I know we change year to year, day to day, month to month if we allow ourselves to go through the experiences that we have and gain the wisdom and apply that wisdom in the areas of our life. So how do we follow you? What do you got coming up? Give us all the juicy details on what you're doing.
Okay. Your platforms. I am on, of course, Facebook under Rory Edge. I'm also on Instagram under Rory C Edge. I'm on Snapchat under Minister Rory Edge. I'm on LinkedIn. And I'm on, what am I missing? What am I missing? Which one? And I'm what did I say? Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and I'm on Twitter as well under Rory Edge. I really don't use my Twitter, but yeah, whatever the case may be. Um, and I'm relaunching my website. It is theroryedge.com. It should be ready to launch prayerfully, hopefully by the end of this week. I'm praying, I'm hoping that I can go ahead and get it done. And then once it gets launched, you would be able to find me there. What's in the pipeline, what's coming, some stuff the Saints gonna have to stay tuned. But for other stuff, I'm excited. I'm getting ready to launch my coaching program. I'm like to take my book and to turn it into something that is going to help men and young men. I like Jasmine. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. So I am excited about that. That's to come. We got some other stuff that we're working on. We got some other stuff that we're working on, and so we're so excited. So again, for that, the Saints gonna have to stay tuned.
Well, I'm gonna be one of them saints in the number, and I'm gonna stay tuned and see what you have going on, what you got coming up, and also as well your lovely, beautiful wife, and seeing what she has going on. Can you hear me?
You went out. You went
Yeah.
out, Jasmine. I'm
Am I
sorry.
in? Can you hear me now?
I see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
Can
So
y'all
I'm
still
I'm
hear
gonna
me?
assume that you're signing off. Okay, okay, all right, all right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate it. And it's my prayer that whoever's watching and listening to this, please, y'all, whatever you do, bet on yourself. If you don't, if you won't do it, if you don't have motivation to do it for anyone else, do this for yourself. Launch into the deep, launch into the deep, launch into the deep. And if you have something, a dream, a goal, a vision that's in your heart to do, please, whatever you do, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, bet on yourself.
Well, if y'all can still hear me, I thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your night. And I'll be back here tomorrow. Good
Okay.
night.
Bye.